Hey everyone, I'm Pro Nature Photographer Ian Plant, and in this video, I'm going to take a quick look at a new tripod by Fotopro. This is their Origin Travel Tripod, and I've been using Fotopro tripods for many years. I've reviewed a number of their tripods, and I've always been very impressed by their stability, their quality engineering, and their durability. So I've been using Fotopro tripods for the past few years exclusively in a number of punishing environments, and I think the Origin is a great new addition to their lineup. But if you want to learn more, then stay tuned. So I've been using Fotopro tripods for several years now, and I've always liked them and recommended them to my clients. I think they're very well engineered, and they give you good value for their costs. And I've got an assortment of some of my Fotopro tripods right here. This is the T-Rock Max, which has been my workhorse for several years. Over here is the X Aircross 2, which is a very lightweight travel tripod. And here is the new Origin Plus tripod. So there are several different versions of the Origin tripod. I've got the Origin Plus, which is a little bit bigger and beefier than the regular Origin. So you can see that the T-Rock Max is a bit bigger. It's not quite a compact travel tripod. This comes in weighing about 4 pounds or so. And so it is taller and it is heavier and it's got a bit more stability. Now the X Aircross 2 I've been using for many years. It comes in at only 2 pounds. This is one of the best lightweight travel tripods I've ever used. So it's not for every type of photo shoot. I use it a lot when I'm doing a lot of hiking or backpacking, and I know I'm going to be relatively close to the ground with most of my shooting. It's not my preferred tripod if I'm getting in moving water like on the coast or doing waterfalls, because it's a little bit too short and doesn't quite have the stability. But for most of my landscape photo shoots, it's actually quite good. And so the Origin tripod is also a compact travel tripod, but it's a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier than the X Aircross 2. So the X Aircross 2 comes in at 2 pounds. The Origin comes in at about 3 pounds. Now, all three of these tripods are carbon fiber tripods, and carbon fiber is preferred especially for outdoor photographers who have to carry around their equipment because it is relatively stable, but it's also lighter in weight. But it is more expensive than other materials, so that does drive the cost up. So all three of these are carbon fiber tripods, which is why they're so lightweight. And of course, the weights I'm giving you include the integrated ball heads on each of these tripods. And so the Origin tripod's a little bit different from the other tripods I have here in that it doesn't have round tubes like the T-Rock Max and the X Aircross 2. Instead, it's got more of this trapezoidal diamond design, and that's designed to keep the weight down, also to make the tripod more compact when it's folded. And that design also gives it more stability. So you lose a little bit of weight and you offset that loss of weight by increasing stability. And I have always been very happy with my Fotopro tripods. I think they're very well designed, thoughtfully engineered. They have proven to be very stable and they hold up well over time. But that's the real test. So I've been testing the Origin for about a month now, and it's performed admirably. I've loved everything about it, but you really don't know how good a tripod is until you've tested it for several months or even several years, because that's when things start to break down. Then you know whether you've got a really well-engineered, durable design, or you've got something that's flimsy that just breaks down after a short period of time. And so I have used several of my Fotopro tripods for several years now. And so I've got 3 different Fotopro tripods that I've been using for multiple years, and they've held up really well. So I think it's fair to say that my Fotopro tripods have held up better than the average of the various tripod brands that I've used over my 20 years as a pro. And I definitely still highly recommend Fotopro. I do think they're very well engineered. They're very thoughtfully engineered, and they do tend to hold up better than most tripod brands. But no tripod is perfect, and no tripod is going to hold up forever. They all eventually break down somewhere. So I can't promise you that your Fotopro tripods won't have problems. In my personal experience, I've been very happy with them, and I have yet to use another brand that's held up better than my Fotopro tripods. So I've removed the other tripod so we can focus just on the Fotopro Origin. And so there's a few features about this tripod that I really like. So first of all, the center column comes out. Now, it's pretty easy to take the center column out, but not as easy as some of Fotopro's other tripod models. So one thing I really liked about the X Aircross 2 is that the center column just unscrews from the bottom. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to take the center column out before removing it. It just unscrews and then rescrews back in, which is really great because it makes it easy to take the center column out in the field when you're working and then put it back in if you need that extra height. Now, with the Fotopro Origin, to take out the center column or put it back on, you do have to take the center column out. And it's nice because it's got this little hidden compartment once you take out the center column where you've got a small Allen key. And that Allen key just comes right out. There's a little magnet that keeps the key in place. And you can use this to unscrew the center column, which is connected by a small Allen screw. And you could also use this to tighten up other parts of the tripod. So this is kind of neat, that little secret compartment there. And I'm just going to put that back in. So I wish the center column were a bit easier to remove and to put back on. But I feel like it's actually pretty simple with this. I feel like if I had to do it in the field, it's no big deal. But since I tend to work more low when I'm doing landscape photography and less higher up, I just have the center column permanently removed for now because I know that's the way I'm going to use it most of the time. So another feature that I really like, and this has been built into some of the newer Fotopro ball heads, is that it's got a separate panning base. So there's a panning base for the head that's at the bottom of the ball head. But that only is going to work if you're doing panorama photography if the tripod legs have been perfectly leveled. And a lot of times you're not working with perfect level. So as long as you level the ball head, there is a second panning base that is on the head itself. So even if your tripod legs aren't level, as long as you get the ball head level and there's a little spirit level to help you get it level, once you've got it leveled, then you can use that upper panning base and do panorama photography, no problem. One thing to keep in mind with the ball head here is that you need a lot of tension to lock it down, especially when you're using a heavier camera and lens. So I found that if I just lock it casually, that a lot of times I'll have some drift with it. And so I've learned that you just need to torque it a little bit extra to make sure that it's not going to move. And so that extra torque does cause me some concern. I feel like I'm going to be putting extra strain on the materials here, but so far there hasn't been any problem. Nothing is broken. And all of the little pieces of the tripod are actually pretty solid. They look like maybe they're plastic, but they're not. They're made of metal. They seem to be very sturdy. They definitely are using some advanced metal materials. And as a result, they're rather lightweight. They don't have a lot of heft. That's why you might think that they're plastic, but they're not. They actually seem to be very durable. So I am a little concerned about the extra torque that I have to put on this to make sure that the ball head doesn't shift when I'm working with heavier equipment. But so far, I haven't had any problems. And so I actually think it's going to be just fine over the long run. And it's the same thing with the leg extension locks here. So you'll notice that they are using flip locks as opposed to twist locks. And so the advantage of flip locks is that they're very easy to deploy, and they also are less likely to get stuck. When you're using those twist locks, sometimes you get some grit or some water up there, and the twist lock gets stuck on its threads, and then the leg gets stuck. You can't open or close the leg. And if the twist lock gets really stuck, then sometimes that stick is permanent. I have an old tripod from about 15 years ago that I still have somewhere in my house where one of the twist locks just got jammed up by something, and I have been unable to loosen it. I try like once a year. It's a test of strength where I try to go ahead and just untwist that lock or figure out a way to get it unjammed, and I've never been able to do it. And so with twist locks, you definitely have that potential risk, though it happens rarely. With these clip locks, that never happens. So the legs are always easy to deploy and to push back in when you're done. Now, the disadvantage of clip locks is that they tend to be a little bit heavier than twist locks, and they're more prone to breaking or getting loose. So I've had some clip lock tripods in the past where the clip locks have broken or they've gotten loose, and it's made the tripod unusable. Now, these clip locks, once again, they look like they might be plastic, but they're not. They're metal. They seem to be really durable, but they're very lightweight. So the clip locks here aren't really adding much to the weight of the tripod. And I do think that they're going to be more durable over time than some of the clip lock models that I've worked with. Those were plastic clip locks, and those break down. So I think these are going to be more stable and more sturdy over time. And of course, the Origin tripod has some standard features that are common to many tripods. So you can adjust the angle of the legs. And so here, I'm going to just show you, you can put the legs up at the highest click stop angle, and that gets you down pretty low to ground level for really low level shooting. So that's a really nice feature. That, of course, is only going to work if you remove the center column. You can't get down that low with the center column in. And when the tripod is fully extended without the center column, the camera ends up at about chest level, depending on your height. I'm a little bit under 6 feet tall. So for me, the camera is at about chest level, which means that I might need to bend down a little bit to look through the viewfinder when I'm making my compositions. But as I mentioned before, especially when I'm doing landscape photography, I'm often working at a lower level than that. So waist level, knee level, or ground level tend to be pretty typical for me when I'm doing landscape photography. It's rare that I need to be higher up. So this is a really great tripod if you don't need that higher up setup. It is a great tripod if you're going to be working on solid ground. I think that because it's a little bit smaller, because it is a compact travel tripod, that not unlike the X-Air Cross 2, as I mentioned earlier, you might have some trouble working in fast-moving water. So if you're doing any coastal photography or waterfall photography, you probably want something that's taller and that has more weight and that has more heft, because that's going to give it more stability and allow you to set up in deeper water. But I think for most types of outdoor photography in particular, the Origin is a great tripod. I've been using it for the past month exclusively on my photo trips, and I've really enjoyed using it. I think it's very stable. I don't feel like there's a lot of vibration or shake when I'm using this tripod. It's been a pleasure to use. It's relatively lightweight. It's not quite as lightweight as the X-Air Cross 2. If you're really looking to lighten your load, definitely recommend that one. If you need a bit more height and stability, then definitely check out the T-Rock Max. Both of these tripods I've separately reviewed before, but I think the Origin sits comfortably in between those two tripods. So it gives you really good stability, gives you a little more height than the X-Air Cross 2, but it comes in at a little less weight than the T-Rock Max. So it's a really nice compromise, real nice blend of portability and low weight. And it really is a lightweight, compact travel tripod. So not too heavy. When it folds up, it is quite compact. This actually fits perfectly in a carry-on bag when I'm flying. So if you're doing a lot of travel, doing a lot of flying, if you're doing a lot of hiking around, having a tripod like the Fotopro Origin is definitely a good bet. I think this is another home run hit from Fotopro, and I believe that if you get one of these, you're going to be very happy with it. Well, there you have it. The Origin Travel Tripod, which is Fotopro's newest tripod in their already excellent lineup, isn't revolutionizing tripods. It is an evolutionary next step. They've got some nice new features that build on the success of earlier Fotopro tripods. And if you do a lot of travel like me, I think you will appreciate this tripod for its lightweight, for its compactness, and for its stability. I'm Ian Plant, wishing you good luck and great light. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye-bye.